Okay, so here's the thing we're not considering.
Okay.
We're always like, Selena can't be the best assassin. What if all the other assassins legitimately suck?
We have begun recording. Sorry for a little bit of silence at the beginning. I was readjusting the audio capture frame so I could see it.
It's called editing.
It's called editing?
We can just cut that bit out.
Do I edit this? It's a live reaction.
More or less.
More or less. Alright. We're on chapter 18 of the never-ending story. Selena sat in the parlor of Archer's townhouse, frowning at the crackling fireplace. She hadn't touched the tea the butler had laid before her on the low-lying marble table.
He can afford a butler?
He's got a butler. It's keeping up a lifestyle, though, for him. One of the reasons why he's in debt.
Oh, that's true.
Though she'd certainly indulged in 2 cream puffs and 1 chocolate tart, while Torte? T-O-R-T-E?
Tort. Like tortoise? Tort.
1 chocolate tort while waiting for Archer to return. She could have come back later, but it was freezing outside, and after standing on guard duty last night, she was exhausted and in need of anything to distract her from reliving that dance with Kaol. After the waltz had finished, he'd merely told her that if she abandoned her post again, he'd break a hole through the ice in the trout pond and toss her in. And then, as though he hadn't just... Hey, she's King's Champion. I feel like King's Champion might outrank
Remember, this is
a captain.
This is what the floating looks like, remember?
It's disgusting.
It is.
And then, as though he hadn't just danced with her in a way that made her knees tremble, he stalked back inside and left her to suffer in the cold. He hadn't even mentioned the dance this morning during their run. Maybe she'd just imagined the whole thing. Maybe the frigid night air had made her stupid.
Well, I can't argue with that, but do you really think you imagined a whole waltz?
This happens a lot.
That explains why no gloves and then gloves. Stupid logic.
Stupid logic? Maybe she's hallucinating. I think she's hallucinating. She'd been distracted during her first word-mark lessons with Nehemia, which really upset her teacher, and Nehemia threw down her pen in frustration and stormed off. Because she wasn't taking this seriously.
I mean, she wasn't.
First lesson with Nehemia that morning, and had earned a fair amount of scolding as a result.
So Nehemia didn't storm off?
No.
What? Man, this...
I made the whole storming off thing up. She was distracted during the lessons, but she just got scolded. She blamed the complex, near nonsensical language. She'd learned a few languages before, enough to get by in places where Adolan's language laws hadn't taken root, but wordmarks were completely different. Trying to learn them while also trying to unravel the labyrinth that was Kaol Westfold was impossible.
Ditch the labyrinth. Focus on the magic, my Galwood.
Selena heard the front door open, muffled words, hurried footsteps, and then Archer's beautiful face popped in. Again, we don't need an there.
Popped in
And then Archer's beautiful face popped in.
Yeah.
You don't need punctuation there! Just give me a moment to freshen up.
You stinky stink.
Well, yeah, what do you think he was doing today? Same thing he does every day.
Selena.
She stood. That won't be necessary.
Try to get out of debt.
That won't be necessary. This won't take long. Woman, Selena, respect his need to go and shower. It's been made plainly clear that he doesn't appreciate his job, so you know what? I think if he wants to shower first thing, or bathe first thing when he gets home, you better respect that.
Let the man bathe.
Imagine
you already
if you
know
came
where
home.
He lives.
Yeah. Imagine if you came home soaked in blood from your latest cold-blooded, horrific murder, and you want to wash it from your skin so you feel a little less terrible about yourself.
But Kaol Westfold is like, this won't take a moment.
Oh, that was a vulgar gesture.
You keep on reading.
Archer's green eyes glimmered, but he slipped into the parlor, shutting the mahogany door behind him. Mahogany.
Listen.
All right, where does mahogany grow?
His heart's hard as
Well, they
stone
could have imported
for
it, I guess.
mahogany.
Because they would have to. I don't think it would grow somewhere that has the winters that have been described here.
Also, can I just say, I'm so glad that in my fan fictions I read, whenever we have to talk about like essential or that other word, I don't remember. I'm so glad butler isn't in the vocabulary of the fanfics I read. Because if I have to read about whatever's going on in Gondolin, and it's all like immediately like the butlers are having a secret little meeting for the lords, that's lame. But essential, or that other one, a steward? I'm just
wow, you remembered Central before Steward?
Yeah, I did. Bite me. I'm just glad. Like, listen, hearing Butler was like, oh, wow, Butler.
Butler.
Not about
Downton Abbey
fantasy. Literally, Downton Abbey ass ward.
They do have kid gloves in Downton Abbey.
Yeah. I pointed that out already.
Yeah. No, I'm saying more time frame.
The point is, Butler just took me out of it, you know? He has a Butler? Okay.
Okay.
My lord.
No private secretary?
Yeah, what's his private secretary?
Sit, she told him, not particularly caring that this was his house. It's the bank's house. Archer obeyed, taking a seat in the armchair across from the couch. His face was flushed from the cold, making his lovely eyes seem even greener.
Hey, stop objectifying him. He thinks you're here to kill him, okay?
Yeah, that's literally why he's like, I'm sat. You told me to sit down. Okay, I'm here. Please don't kill me.
Man, when our cousin said that she used to like him, I'm concerned because I like him. He's the only character in this book that I like right now. And what terrible thing is Maas going to do to him or make him do that got my cousin to stop liking him. I don't know, maybe I'd be into it. We'll see what happens.
Maybe you'd be into it. Tia's all, yeah, it's something that I'm into. My cousin isn't, but I am. Because I'm a sick little broken pencil. I'm a sick little broken pencil. It's so sad. Okay. So he sat. She crossed her legs. If your butler doesn't stop listening at the keyhole, I'm going to cut off his ears and shove them down his throat. There was a muffled cough, followed by retreating footsteps. Once she was sure no one else was listening, she leaned back into the couch cushion. I need more than a list of names. I need to know what exactly they're planning, M-, and how much they know about the king. Archer's face paled. I need more time, Selena. You have little more than 3 weeks left. Give me 5. The king only gave me a month to kill you. I already have hard time convincing everyone you're a difficult target. I can't give you more time. But I need it to wrap up things here in Rifthold and to get you more information. With Davis dead, they're all being extra careful. No one is talking. No one dares whisper anything. Do they know Davis was a mistake? Mistakes happen often enough in Rifthold for us to know that most of them are anything but mistakes.
I kind of like that.
He ran his hands through his hair. Please, just a little more time. Hey, how's the voice doing this time? I know it's not like it was last time.
Yeah, it's not as good as last time, but it's still okay.
Okay. I don't have any to give you. I need more than names, Archer.
I like how hard you're making Selena sound. Like she's bullying him.
She is. He fears for his life.
Unfortunately, Archer does look a little bit like Trop Celebrimbor in my head right now.
What?
Yeah. Which is to say,
is Trop Celebrimbor insanely masculine in your head? Is this what you're saying about Charles Edwards?
Which is to say, he looks a little bit like Michael Gregson in my head.
Not the most masculinely manly man to ever masculine across the room with his manhood jiggling.
Read the damn book.
I shall.
His manly. Did you see his manhood jiggling?
Yes.
Damn.
Should I have said swaying?
No, that's fine. It seems like, he should, save something for his clients. What are they paying for? Well,
I didn't say it was visible. What about the Crown Prince and the Captain of the Guard? Perhaps they have the information you need. You're close with both of them, aren't you? She bared her teeth at him. What do you know about them? Archer gave her a steady, calculating look. You think I didn't recognize the captain of the guard the day you just happened to run into me outside the willows? His attention flicked to her side, where her hand currently rested on a dagger. Have you told them about your plan to keep me alive? No, she said, her grip on the dagger relaxing. No, I haven't. I don't want to involve them. Or is it because you don't actually trust either of them? She shot to her feet. Don't presume to know anything about me, Archer. She stalked to the door.
I'll kill you in an instant.
Don't do it. She stalked to the door and flung it open. The butler was nowhere to be seen, but a scullery maid was. She looked over her shoulder. The scullery maid was made up.
Man!
I should just not say when I'm making stuff up.
No, you can't do that because I would mention something in book club. And everyone else would be like, what on earth are they talking about? And then Beth would be like, I made that up when I was reading this
I'm an unreliable narrator.
Now I'm an unreliable narrator, let me tell ya.
She looked over her shoulder at Archer, whose eyes were wide as he watched her. You have until the end of the week. 6 days, to get me more information. If you don't give me anything by then, my next visit won't be nearly as pleasant.
Archer, please just get out of there.
I really want him to get out of town.
Get out of Dodge, please, Archer, I love you.
Go to meh. Not giving him the time to reply, she stormed out of the room, grabbed her cloak from the closet, and strode back out into the icy city streets. The maps and figures in front of Dorian had to be wrong. Someone had to be playing a joke, because there was no way Calicula... Wait, how have you been pronouncing this? Calcutta?
By accident.
Wait, actually, I'm going to pronounce it as... Calicuya. No, it's got 2 L's, so it's going to be a... Isn't that like a Y sound in Spanish?
I don't know. You're the one on it.
Yeah, tortilla.
Caliculia.
Calicuya. Because there was no way Calicuya had this many slaves. That's right. There's not actually... It's all a front. It's all a front for building a secret undead army.
Oh my goodness.
That's why we don't care if the slaves die real fast. We just need their dead bodies.
Necromancy.
Seated at the long table in his father's council chamber, Dorian glanced at the men around him. None looked surprised. None looked upset. Councilman Moyison, Councilman Moyison, who had taken a special interest in Calcuya, was practically beaming him. He should have fought to get Nehemia into this council meeting, but there was probably nothing she could say right now that would have any impact on a decision that had clearly already been made. His father was smiling faintly at Roland, his head propped on a fist. The black ring on the king's... They keep mentioning the stinking black ring. Oh my gosh, we know it's important. The black ring on the king's hand glittered in the dim light from the beastly fireplace, that mouth-shaped hearth that seemed poised to devour the room. Grand, yes, it's grand, and I need some magic to bring it to life and actually devour the room. Or at least breathe fire onto the room. From his spot beside Parrington, Roland gestured to the map. Another black ring glinted on Roland's hand. He's been inducted. The same as the one Parrington wore, too.
The Masons.
As you can see, Calcuya can't support the current number of slaves. There are too many to even fit in the mines as it is, and though we have them digging for new deposits, the work has been stagnant. Roland smiled, but slightly to the north, right along the southern edge of Oakwald, our men have discovered an
Oakwald?
Oakwald. Oh. A wall of oaks, mayhaps?
Oakwald, yeah.
Our men have discovered an iron deposit that seems to cover a large area. It's close enough to Calcoya that we could erect a few new buildings to house additional guards and overseers, bring in even more slaves if we want, and start working on it right away. Impressed murmurs and a nod from his father to Roland made Dorian's jaw clench. 3 matching rings. 3 black rings to signify what? That they were bound in some way to each other?
Someone's jealous that he's not a part of the party.
Yeah. I'm not sure he wants to be bound to his dad like that, but okay. How had Roland gotten past his father's and Parrington's defenses so quickly? Because of his support of a place like Calcoya? Nehemiah's words from the night before kept ringing in his head. He'd seen the scars on Selena's back up close. Oh no, but Selena is pronounced s, not k, so maybe it's Salasuya.
That's her name?
No, I mean the place is Salasuya, not Calcuya. Because Selena is s, not k. She's not called Kalena.
She could be if this wasn't a k.
But I'll continue doing the k for
you.
Calicoya.
Thank you.
I will limit myself to the koya.
Thank you. Thank you. You may continue.
He'd seen the scars on Selena's back up close, a brutal mess of flesh that made him sick with rage to look at. How many like her were rotting away in those labor camps? And where will the slaves sleep? Dorian suddenly asked. Will you build shelter for them too? Everyone, including his father, turned to look at him, but Roland just shrugged. They're slaves. Why shelter them when they can sleep in the mines? Then we wouldn't waste time bringing them in and out every day. More murmurs and nods. They're all like, whoa, we've never thought of this before. Yeah.
Also, well, I don't know. They probably have more slaves than guards, it seems like.
Yes.
I guess they rely on the slaves not being able to, like, formulate everyone, like, walking at once all together to pummel the guards to death with their hands.
And their pickaxes.
There's more of us than they have crossbow bolts, let me tell ya.
Yeah, but are you the one willing to, be first out there?
Yes. I hate the mines.
I hate the mines. I do not yearn for the mines.
I know. I actually had to go because one of the other slaves, I saw them waving at me. So I waved back, but it turns out they were waving to a slave behind me. Put me on the front lines.
I'm out.
I'm out. You know what? I've lived through enough.
Dorian stared at Roland. If we have a surplus of slaves, then why not let some of them go? Surely they're not all rebels and criminals. A growl from around the table. His father. Watch your tone, Prince. Not a father to his son, but a king to his heir. Still, that icy rage was growing, and he kept seeing Selena's scars, her too thin body the day they'd pulled her out of Endovir, her gaunt face, and the hope and the desperation mingling in her eyes. He had heard Nehemiah's words. What she went through is a blessing compared to what most endure. Dorian peered down the table at his father, whose face was dark with irritation. Is this the plan? Now that we've conquered the continents, you'll throw everyone into Calcoya or Endovir until there's no one left in the kingdom but people from Otterlan?
Yes.
Silence. The rage dragged him down to the place where he'd felt that flicker of ancient power when Nehemiah had touched his heart. You keep tightening the leash and it's going to snap, Dorian said to his father, then looked across the table to Roland and Mollison. How about you spend a year in Calcola, and when you're done, you two can sit here and tell me about your plans for expansion. His father slammed his hand on the table, rattling...
Insolent boy!
Insolent girl! Rattling the glasses and pitchers. You will mind your mouth, Prince, or you will be thrown out of this room before the vote. We're voting these days?
Damn.
He's a figurehead king.
Democracy.
I love democracy. Dorian shot out of his seat. Nehemiah had been right. He hadn't looked at the others in Endovir. He hadn't let himself. I've heard enough. He snarled at his father, at Roland and Mollison, at Parrington and all the other lords and men in the room. There's men in here who aren't lords. Men servants. I see. It's like that scene from The Robe.
Oh, I've never read it.
Not in that early in the book. Before, like, the drama gets going. There's just, like, a party, like, with the Roman centurion people. Not centurions, because they weren't. There's, like, one centurion. Anyways, the higher-up Roman army people. And they've all got, like, their manslaves just, like, standing by the wall waiting for them for, like, when they need help.
Oh, and I'm so helpless. Help me, manslave.
And Demetrius, you know, he's just waiting for Marcellus, who's just getting steadily drunker and drunker.
Because does he have
and
the
then he
robe
has
yet?
to put on the robe, yeah. Oh. He's won the robe.
Chug.
And then Marcellus is all, Demetrius, go, burn that thing.
Do that?
And Demetrius does not.
Oh. And it keeps driving him mad, right?
Better book.
Telltale robe?
Telltale robe. The Telltale robe. I've heard enough, he said. He looked at the lords in the room. You want my vote? Then here it is. No, not in 1,000 years. His father growled, but Dorian was already walking across the red marble floor, past the horrible fireplace, out the doors, and into the bright halls of the glass castle. He didn't know where he was going until only that he felt freezing cold, a cold that fueled the calm, glittering rage, again with freezing cold around him. Clearly it means something. He took flight after flight of stairs down into the stone castle, then long hallways and narrow staircases until he found a forgotten hall, where there was no eyes to see him as he drew back his fist and punched the wall. Write that down. Page 144.
Really? He punched the wall?
He punched the wall.
Man!
Aggression. Second, wall punching. This is Dorian, by the way. Straight up, I mean, at least he didn't do that to glass. I mean, the glass here is probably stronger than steel.
What is it?
Aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Punched a wall. Straight up, the stone cracked under his hand.
Are you sure that wasn't the sound of your hand cracking against the stone?
Not a small crack, but a spider web.
Ew!
That kept growing and growing until the window on the right... the window exploded, glass showering everywhere as Dorian dropped into a crouch and covered his head like a coward.
Shouldn't his hand be a little
Like
heavy?
a coward was made up, but he did cover his head. Air rushed in so cold his eyes burned, but he just knelt there, fingers in his hair, breathing as the anger ebbed out of him. It wasn't possible. He's also hallucinating. Maybe he just hit the wall in the wrong spot, and the damn thing was so ancient that had only been waiting for something like this to happen. He'd never heard of stone cracking that way. Spreading out like a living thing.
To be fair,
spider webs are not a living thing.
To be fair, if this was me, I would think I had superpowers. Like this would happen. I'm invincible.
Runs into the street, gets obliterated by a carriage. With 4 white ponies.
My king, your son was absolutely obliterated. Good.
Okay, it said like a living thing, so now I'm imagining the stone cracking, like a spider web being built. Not in the shape of a spider web, but like... Yeah. And then the window, ellipsis? Heart racing, Dorian lowered his hands from his head and looked at them. There wasn't a bruise or a cut, or even a trace of pain. He's a frost giant. But he'd hit the wall as hard as he could. He should have, broken his hand. Yet his knuckles were unharmed, only white from gripping his fingers in a tight fist. How many is on this page? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Woo! On trembling legs, Dorian rose and surveyed the damage. The wall had splintered, but remained intact. Better hope it's not, like, a weight-bearing wall, dude. But it's a castle made of stone and glass. It's a weight-bearing wall. The ancient window, however, had shattered completely.
Do you think he's going to find something that Selena has already found, or do you think we're going to learn about something new under the castle? What?
I don't think we're going to learn about anything other than his magic powers.
Layman.
The ancient window, however, had shattered completely, and around where he had crouched,
There was a ring of frost.
ellipsis. A perfect circle, clean of debris, as if the glass and wood had showered everything but him. It wasn't possible, because magic, M-dash, new paragraph, magic, ellipsis, new paragraph. Dorian dropped to his knees and was violently sick.
Oh, he's so...
Curled on the couch beside Kael, Selena took a sip of her tea and frowned. Can you hire a servant like Philippa so we can have someone bring us treats? Kael raised an eyebrow.
Unlike Archer, I'm trying to stay out of debt. So no.
So no. Kael raised an eyebrow. Don't you ever stay in your own room anymore? No, not if she could help it. Not with Elena and Mort and all the nonsense just a secret door away. Ordinarily, she might have sought sanctuary in the library, but not now, not when the library held so many secrets it made her head spin to think about them. For a moment, she wondered if Nehemia had discovered anything about the riddle in Davis's office. Nehemia doing the grunt work. She'd have to ask her tomorrow. She kicked Kael in the ribs with a sock-covered foot. All I'm saying is that I'd like some chocolate cake every now and then. He closed his eyes, and an apple tart, and a loaf of bread, and a pot of stew, and a mountain of cookies, and a M-dash. He chuckled as she put her foot against his face and pushed.
Toe?
Fetish?
Toe fetish?
Foot fetish. More to add to his list of fetishes. We already know he has a fear fetish.
And a thing for scars.
Mm-hmm.
And the list goes on. Kael, you interesting man. You are a labyrinth. I take it back.
He grabbed her foot and wouldn't let go when she tried yanking her leg back.
With his mouth? Damn.
It's true, and you know it, Lena. So what if it is? Haven't I earned the right to eat as much as I want, whenever I want?
Bitch, I survived in Deauville.
Bitch, yes, she does, and I'd like to see her put on some weight. She wrenched her foot out of his grasp as the smile faded from his face. Yes, he said quietly, his voice barely audible over the crackling fire. You have. After a few moments of silence, he stood up and walked to the door. She sat up on her elbows. Where are you going?
To go get you that
He opened
cake.
the door. To get you chocolate cake.
Listen,
he returned.
There's tiny little bits that I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that. Tiny little bits.
Tiny little bits.
Sprinkled.
Sprinkled.
But it's not enough.
It's not enough.
I did kind of like that little interaction.
She likes that interaction. Just a little bit.
Keep
Bring
on.
me cake. When he returned, and after they'd both eaten half of the cake, he'd swiped from the kitchen.
Thief!
Thief! Vagabond! Just saying, you don't need to say when he returned and after. Like, you could have just skipped that. You could have just said after they'd both eaten half the cake,
Yeah,
he'd
how did
swiped.
he get the cake? He
Has to return. Yeah. Anyways, just saying, that could have been cut. Selena leaned back on the couch, a hand on her full belly. Kael was already sprawled across the cushions, sleeping soundly. Staying up until the middle of the night at the ball, then awakening for their sunrise run this morning had been exhausting. Why hadn't he just cancelled the run? You know, the courts weren't always like this, Nehemia had said. There was a time when people valued honor and loyalty, Mdash, when serving a ruler wasn't about the obedience and fear ellipsis. Do you think another court like that could ever rise again? I'm sorry, there was no period. I could not stop for a breath. Selena hadn't given Nehemia an answer. She hadn't wanted to talk about it, but looking at Kael now, at the man he was, and the man he was still becoming, ellipsis.
That's right, because God forbid anyone be 40 years old in this.
She thought. Well, other than Reyna, I guess.
That's right.
Who's older. Unless she had a child, scandalously young. Yes, Nehemia, it could rise again, if we could find more men like him. But not in a world with this king, she realized. He'd crush a court like that before Nehemia could muster one. If the king were gone, then the court that Nehemia dreamed of could change the world. That court could undo the damage of a decade of brutality and terror. It could restore the land ravaged by conquest and renew the hearts of the kingdom that shattered when Adarlan marched in. And in that world, ellipsis, Selena swallowed hard. She and Kaol would never be a normal boy and girl. But perhaps in that world, they could make a life of their own. She wanted that life, because even though he'd pretended nothing had happened after the dance they'd shared last night, something had. And maybe it had taken her this long to realize it. But this man, M-dash, she wanted that life with him. The world Nehemia dreamed about, and the world Selena...
the man who scaled his younger brother so much that they wouldn't even talk to him anymore. Delicious.
That one. The one who's overly possessive and restrictive and would like to tell you where you can be and when? That one? Are we talking about the same one? Yeah, he can do nice things. But are we talking about the same person?
Edward sounded at.
Yeah. Anyways, the world Nehemia dreamed about and the world Selena sometimes dared to let herself consider was nothing more than a shred of hope and a memory of what the kingdoms had once been. But perhaps the rebel movement truly knew about the king's plan and how to ruin them, how to destroy him, with or without Aelin Galathunis and whatever army they claimed she was raising. Selena sighed and eased off the couch, gently shifting Kaol's leg so she didn't disturb him. She turned back, though, just once, leaning down to brush her fingers through his short hair, then grazed them along his cheek. Then she quietly slipped from the room, taking the remnants of the chocolate cake with her. Some non-consensual touching.
Oh, he's asleep?
He's asleep.
Kind of freaky, Selena.
Should have woken up and bit your finger.
I'm not gonna whip it. Listen.
She was wondering whether eating the rest of the chocolate cake would make her severely sick when she turned down her hallway and spotted...
I do relate to that, I will say.
And spotted Dorian sitting on the floor outside her room. He looked over when he saw her, his eyes going to the cake in her hand. Selena blushed and lifted her chin. They hadn't spoken since their argument over Roland. Perhaps he'd come to apologize. Serves him right. But as she neared and Dorian got to his feet, she took one look at the expression in his sapphire eyes and knew he wasn't here for an apology. "It's a bit late for a visit," she said by way of greeting. Dorian put his hand in his pockets and leaned against the wall. His face was pale, his eyes haunted, but he gave her half a smile. "It's a bit late for chocolate cake, too. Been raiding the kitchens?" She remained outside her room, running an eye over him. He looked fine, no bruises, no signs of injury, yet something was off. "What are you doing here?" He avoided her gaze. "I was looking for Nehemia, but her servants said she was out. I thought they meant here. Then I thought the two of you might be off for a stroll." "I haven't seen her since this morning. Is there something you want from her?" Dorian took a ragged breath, and Selena suddenly realized just how cold it was in the hallway.
You raggedy ass man.
How long had he been sitting here on the frozen floor?
Man, this castle's insulation and internal heating, much to be desired.
That's why you use rugs and tapestries, my girl. That's every castle. It's made of stone and glass, not known for providing excellent insulation.
Well, I think when I have my own castle, I'm gonna have the rug castle made out of rugs for premium insulation.
Nice.
Anyway, whatever.
We're almost done.
I'm ready for lunch,
he said, shaking his head as if convincing himself of something. "No, there isn't." He began walking away. She started speaking before she knew she'd opened her mouth. "Dorian, What's wrong? He turned. For a heartbeat, there was something in his eyes that reminded her of a world long since burned. M-dash, a glimmer of coal, a glimmer of color and power that still stalked the edges of her nightmares. But he blinked, and it was gone. Nothing. There's nothing at all. He strode away, hands still in his pockets. Enjoy your cake, he said over his shoulder, and then was gone.
Oh, dreams and nightmares. Fuck your dreams. Fuck your nightmares.
My takeaway from this chapter, nothing too objectionable. I was kind of wondering if we'd have another glaring error like the last two chapters. But yeah, nothing too objectionable in this one. I mean, I am, of course, not thrilled with having Selena suddenly go, oh, I want to spend the rest of my life with this man because I'm not here for romance. And also he's not a great romantic partner option from what we've seen of his behavior and his possessiveness. Any takeaways for you?
I'm not surprised that Selena's like, I want to be with this man forever. Because, I mean, she's 18.
Okay, that's true.
It sounds like she might have only ever been, like, with Sam beforehand.
That's true.
So, and, you know, she was in... It doesn't sound like her whole life has been very, like, steady, or she's had good romantic role models, I would guess. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Assassin King is, like, in the best romantic relationship of all. And
he is committed.
He's committed.
She never got to meet the partner, though.
Yeah. First rule of assassinry, don't bring your personal life into business. That's all I can say. Yeah, nothing objectionable. Like, even I'm getting desensitized to, like, having 7 M-dashes on a page. Like, that's normal. Yippee, you know? Yippee! Man, I just really wish that Archer is just lying about how much time he needs so that he can just vanish.
I would love that.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I really wish I wish, like, she'd go to call on him, and he's just completely gone.
Yeah. Packed up, moved out. Butler vanished. Butler, secret lover. They gotta go start their life. Well, not secret lover, actually. Butler's gonna teach him how to have a new life.
Butler's like, I'm gonna teach you to be a footman. It won't be glamorous, but it's better than what you got going on right now.
He's too beautiful for a footman, unfortunately.
And too tall.
And too tall. 6'2" is a little tall for a footman. All right, well, I think those are our takeaways. I do like what you said about remembering that she's 18 and has not had most likely good role models. I still don't like it.
Oh, I
it's
don't
more
like it either.
It's just I don't like it.
And I mean, like, I say, like, 18. I think about me being 18. And I was like, I don't think I'd be in that situation.
It's so true.
It
also
sounds like
have
we're
had average 18-year-olds.
I've also had a very stable life.
That's true.
As an 18, you know, forever. So, so I guess it's not, from what I've heard in, like, in other media, I guess it's not, like, too far out for her to be like, you know what, I love this person. I want to spend the rest of my life with them. It's like, go, he danced with you.
Girl, he danced with you. And he got you cake. Is that all it takes?
I don't know. If I danced with someone and then they got me cake, I don't know.
I'd bing you.
I'd be like, how much more cake you got back there, Liv?
All right. Thanks for joining, anyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.